have some extra time and I'm going to use that to tackle a big problem that's been plaguing my family and plaguing me. It's a problem in my living room, and it's these giant... Hi, I'm Zinnia. I'm a part-time writer, a part-time professional, and a full-time busy mom. I'm currently querying my first manuscript. It's titled Tetrophobic, and it's a psychological horror piece. It's pretty dark, and I'm currently drafting my second manuscript. Working title is Project Nest, and it is a dystopian thriller, but as I write, I'm realizing that it has very strong Southern Gothic vibes, so we'll find out as it goes. The genre is pretty fluid between those two spheres. Today's going to be about writing, but it's also a productivity vlog. So I invite you to go along with me and try and be productive today and get some things done. A little bit about my plan. This morning, I've already taken my daughter to school. I've been to work. I have a pretty flexible job. I work part-time hours and I'm sometimes on call. If there's an issue in the office, they'll call me and I will handle it, and that's what I'm doing today. So I have some extra time and I'm going to use that to tackle a big problem. And it's these giant bookshelves that are crammed full of toys and reusable diapers and just stuff. Just all this stuff, and stuff that we want to keep away from our 20-month-old, so we put it up high, and everyone says, oh, just shove it up high. Well, there are all these baskets that I used to have very well organized, and I knew where everything was, and now it's just like, it's chaotic and stressful for me. And when someone's looking for something, everyone looks at me like it's my fault that they can't find it, and maybe it is. Maybe this is my job. Instead of writing right now, which is what I really want to do, I really want to be writing today. Last night I added about 2,200 words to my manuscript. I'm close to 31,000 words now. I'm getting into kind of the juicy part of Act 2. I'm really moving along. I've got a lot of momentum and I want to keep that going. But first I have to deal with this thing because I have time to do it right now, and I think I'll feel a lot better when this eyesore is just beautified and tidy, and I think that that will give me a lot of positive energy in this room. This is the main room of our apartment. We spend a lot of time in here. Like, of course, I'm a mom, so I live in the kitchen, kind of, and the kids play. This is the living room and kitchen blended together. It's a small Asian apartment. That's just how we have to live. But we make it work. We're lucky to have a lot of storage in this apartment. We have places to put everything. That makes my task today a lot easier. Why did they make these cabinets so shiny? They have handprints all over them. I need to wipe down the cabinets. We'll add that to my little list of what I'm going to take care of right away. And then this afternoon, or hopefully the end of the morning here, lunchtime, I will go down to the community room, which is one of my other favorite writing spots in our building, because it's nice to get out of this room. It's nice to get out of the apartment and go write somewhere else, and not necessarily like in a busy cafe. We have some kind of quieter spots where I can get some writing done. But yeah, I'm hoping to add maybe a couple thousand more words to the manuscript today. That would be really great, and keep pushing to that midpoint. I'm really looking forward to it. I have some scenes coming up that I just can't wait to write. A little tidbit about the manuscript. So I said it's kind of Southern Gothic, so part of it is set in an old plantation house and really kind of creepy vibes, and I love this kind of thing, so I'm super excited. Hopefully I will have some insights in describing what my method for drafting has been and how I'm implementing some of the beats from Save the Cat. I'm trying to do a little bit better with structure this time around. My first manuscript that I'm querying right now, it has structure, but maybe not the most professional structure. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. I gotta do these shelves. I'm going to show you what I hope will be a very satisfying cleaning montage. I love a cleaning montage. I love that feeling when it's just like phew, everything comes together. So I hope that that will also motivate you and inspire you to take care of a problem area in your house. I challenge you. If you have a similar issue, just do it. cleaning up the shelves took about an hour and 10 minutes. And I decided to continue on with the productivity thing today. So I took a little bit of time. I went to the supermarket, picked up a few things that we needed. And now I'm going to make a quick lunch, like a sandwich or something. And then I'm going to go down and write for, I think if I hurry up, I can get 90 minutes in. So that's kind of the goal. But I will do a more in-depth video of supermarket in Vietnam because that's something I'm always interested in when I go to a new country. It's like, what is the supermarket situation? So I've been super productive all day. I got everything on my list finished, including the tax papers for the Vietnamese government, because it's generally a good idea not to get yourself in tax trouble. So now I'm in one of my favorite writing spots. It's a little echoey in here, but this is a shared community conference room in my building. One of the gardeners is out here. I really like to write down here because it helps me get away from my spot in the kitchen, and I feel like I can be a little bit more focused on my work when I'm not thinking about what I'm going to cook for dinner later, or like, oh, I need to clean that, or like, oh, what do the kids have going on? If I'm away from my kids' stuff, it helps me to disconnect a little bit and focus more on my book. So I have zero querying updates, except just that I've been compulsively checking, as you do. And yeah, so about the second book, like I said last night, I added about 2,200 words to the manuscript, and that brought me up to the end of a chapter. So right now I will be working on the following chapter, and the approach I've been taking with this book is to have the big plot beats outlined. Like, I know what's going to happen. I wrote a synopsis that follows pretty much the whole story, but it's not chapter by chapter. Maybe I don't know exactly how fast certain parts are going to unravel and how slowly I'm going to let some things burn. So I'm giving myself a little bit of freedom to explore that as I'm writing. I don't know. The book that I'm querying is the first book I've ever written, and I started writing it in 2024, like September of 2024. So I've not been writing very long, and I'm really figuring it out as I go and having tons of fun doing that. So I haven't yet hit like a burnout or a part where I felt stressed or couldn't get over a certain part of the writing. Everything seems to be coming pretty easily, which maybe will not always be my experience, but for right now, that's how things have been. So I'm just really enjoying how it's going. So the chapter I'm going to be writing today is, if I'm following Save the Cat, it's the fun and games part. And I have a lot of ideas for how it's going to work out. I have, at the end of the chapter I finished last night, I jotted down some notes about what I want to happen in the next chapter, some little details that I want to add that are not in this synopsis that I sort of discovered as I was writing another part previously. This is very different from how I wrote my first book. With my first book, the whole thing came to me in a flash. I was really bored at work. Part of my job is just checking on other people doing their jobs. So I was walking around checking on things, and I had a flash, like a vision of the book start to finish. All of the characters of that book are different bad things about myself. I can be pretty self-critical. I do love myself, of course. Like, you have to love yourself a little bit to want to make a YouTube channel to begin with, one where you're talking about your life. But I also can see that I have tons of flaws, and I'm utilizing those flaws to write some characters that I hope have some depth to them and don't feel like imagined characters. So all of the characters of that book are kind of drawing from me, and the main character is very much in my role, the same professional role that I fill, and she's from the same place that I'm from, and she's very much the me that I hope I never become. The plot of that book is speculative, so it's very much imagined, but I use a lot of elements from my real life to create that world. And I didn't have to do any world building at all, really, because it's set in modern day Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City, where I live. So I just kind of had to write about my real experiences, real places that I see. It was easy to describe things because I didn't have to imagine them. I just had to tell them like they are. And that's an important part of that book for me. Most things written about Vietnam are looking back on the war, or the historical type of books about the war period, about the colonial period, about ancient Vietnam. But you don't get a lot of this like slice of life, what's really going on right now. But except if it's a romance or a family saga, family drama, and those usually touch on the war anyway. But I have read a few like YA books that are set in Vietnam and that are about like people, they're called Viet Kios, like people who are ethnically Vietnamese who maybe grew up overseas and are coming back to Vietnam. So it's those kind of experiences. Those books can be really cool. And there's actually one that's horror. I'll pop it up on the screen. It's really good. I recommend it, but it is YA. So I'm also writing in the adult space. So it's the book that I wrote, Tetraphobic, is really different from, like, I really struggled to find comps for it. I couldn't find comps for setting. I had to go with like pretty general things and really go just on vibes, which is what comps are about. Comp titles for query letters should be more about vibes than about actual like plot points. It was a struggle. I did end up comping one book that is literary horror. It's called Model Home by Rivers Solomon. But that one is very much about the Black experience in America, which doesn't quite line up with what I'm talking about in my book. But it does have this like technological horror thing to it though, and that's what made it kind of fit the vibe. And I think my book, Tetraphobic, maybe is slightly upmarket. It doesn't fit the genre conventions fully, so I think it's just a weird book to place. And I'm talking a lot about querying, and I'm talking a lot about my first book. But what I really want to talk about is my new book. The new book, Project Nest, it's partly set in Charlotte, North Carolina, and partly set on a cruise ship, and partly set in Louisiana on River Road in a plantation house. It has a lot of travel in it, and I hope that that can make it really interesting. We're working a lot with like female dynamics and fertility, and a little bit of body horror, I think, might come in. I haven't written that part yet, but I see it going that direction. But today we're doing fun and games, and it's a little bit of exploration of this house and uncovering some mysteries, some secrets about the people who own this big plantation house. So yeah, I'm gonna write. Let me see. Now that I've been gabbing and jawing so much, I have about an hour and 10 minutes. So I'm gonna write, and yeah, hopefully I can get maybe 1,000 words if I'm lucky. Okay, cool, let's write. Write with me. If you were productive today, can you please leave me a comment and let me know if I helped you? That would make me feel good. Okay, let's write. That's time. I wrote 912 words, which is pretty good. I'm happy with what I got down. It's starting to get really juicy and exciting, and I can't wait to continue. I was really in the flow and feeling great about the words that I was writing, not just writing, to fill up the page, but I felt like I was really telling the story as I want it to be told. And I was writing a lot of really solid description, rich description, pulling out a lot of really good active verbs. That was the alarm to pick up my daughter. So yeah, I have to get to the school. Can't be late for pickup. But yeah, if I don't have time to jump on again later, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for being productive with me. I hope that you were able to get some stuff done in your life today and also write some words and add some content to your project. See you next week. Bye-bye.